Alright, part 2 of the serpent investigation now, right? And having a look at this operant conditioning. You're talking about this operant conditioning, right? You're talking about Tron operations, right? This is Tron's operations and how to condition naturals. And how to brainwash them, there's the animal's code. Right, look at this, the Thorndike puzzle box. The cube, the James cube, right? The box idea, the love the cube in the box, as we know, right? In the Thorndike, the T, the horn, the hormones and the dike. So you can see that everyone involved in this was translate. And an influential behaviourist, see? So, it just sums up a type of witchcraft and spellcraft and mind control ideas, see? Type of stuff they're into, discovering ways to influence, behaviours of people and all this, right? And obviously this ties in with the serpent idea, where they've created this serpent idea for the purpose of, making people scared, basically. A primordial type of idea of putting a fear into people's minds, and that's it. And that one's obviously a T. As we see, there's always ideas about a serpent god in the supposedly ancient mythologies of all these different countries and different civilizations and all this, right? As we know, if you're taking the knowledge that this is basically a syringe metaphor, right? You're talking about there's a lot of trickery going on, there's a lot of lies going on, and just come across this interesting little piece here, right? Someone says the snake was Christ. Of course, there's 100 different interpretations and that, but they'll never mention the trans idea, right? Which is obviously what the whole thing's about, right? But as you see, the type of serpent gods idea, in Chinese, Indian, and all the different things, see? There's definitely a link between the god, the idea of a god, and the idea of a serpent or a Lord's dragon or a serpentine type of animal type of thing, creature, Definitely. And as you see here, 33 Japanese films with Godzilla. So obviously, Godzilla basically exemplifies, the idea, doesn't it? The gorilla and whale. Of course, they love monkeys and they love the serpents, right? I suppose the whale idea can come in as a sea serpent idea, right? So it's always about pitting the monkey against the serpent idea, right? Monkey representing a sort of natural, right? There's even one called Godzilla Revolution there, right? So you can see they're always pitting the idea of a monkey mind, a monkey man, right, i.e. non-trans, right, with a serpent type of idea, which is sort of, representing their own trans, right? There's always a few ideas, right, about a snake fighting with a monkey, right? Yeah. Obviously, this can't be British or no, because it must be African, because that's where they all come from, and that, right? Or India or something like that, right? I think it's Africa. It's a lot of this sort of strange stuff in that. Snake v Monkey is a mini game featured in the PlayStation versions. So always this type of snake versus monkey idea, right? They must be very obsessed with it, like. Monkeys originate in Africa. So a lot of, again, a lot of African ideas, right? Of course, there's always a lot of conflict and hex ideas in their own stuff. Monkeys, apes, and humans were thought primarily to originate in Africa. And then they suggest these primates might have originally arisen in Asia. So there's a lot of conflicting hex, but as we know, like everything what these sort of give you is garbage anyway. There's a canonical Amazonsons, so that's the Amazons is basically Mason's idea, so that's garbage. See what I'm saying? Of course, the canon idea with the Bible and all that, see. Again, right, yeah, garbage about 35 million years ago. I mean, it's like ridiculously, and most funny stuff about the infra-order semiforms. The infra-order. Again, this is pointing out how to basically view natural populations as monkeys, right? Which is this, again, monkeys and their snake idea. So, like a snake is God over monkeys, right? And obviously, when you have like the different ideas of Britain and stuff, you've got the dog and the sheep. See, the dog is the god to the sheep in the fields of Britain, right? But obviously, in this Africa type of idea, basically the snake is the god to the monkey. They say the snake scares the monkeys about, makes them run about, and when you sort of transport that to Britain, it's the dog who scares the sheep. So it's very similar, you see, the dog and the god idea. But here a nice little hex from BBC about a dog infected with monkeypox. Prompts isolation warning. They're dog monkey hybrids. Often pincher dog's breed. Basically a monkey, call it a monkey faced dog. Often ape. Interesting little stuff there about this dog, snake and monkey. And we've already seen about like the type of things such as the Aboriginal rainbow serpent, right? And then even in this Paleolithic Ophidian myth, right, snakes are connected to rains and storms. So you're talking about your Noah's Ark idea, your Mariner's idea, and your rainbow type of thing, right? Which is very Masonic, as we know, right? And so again, right, the rainbow idea is basically a representation of a serpent, right? It's the sky serpent, as they call it in some of the primitive type of racism, what have you, right? The sky serpent. So basically, again, you're seeing a serpent representation as a god type of thing, right? Of course, this Noah's flood story very important in the Freemasonry. The rainbow is over Noah's Ark. You always say Damballa, which is one of the most important of the spirits in Haitian voodoo and other African diaspora religious traditions, and traditionally portrayed as a great white or black serpent. Again, the rainbow colours, associated with this. Look at that, that's exactly the same as the caduceus. It's even got a pack of pins on the top with the needles on it and all that. And that's the Damballa weed, the sky serpent. You're talking about maybe the, stuff coming from basically across Africa, really. And that's the Mayan one, which is South American. And of course this word Maya, right, basically is translated as illusion or unreality. See, come from Eastern philosophy systems and all that. They have like the Mere Queen, the Mere Queen, which is obviously a trans queen idea. So the illusion. A Mere Queen, like what do you call it, Brian Mere, out the Queen, see. Illusion, unreality, know what all about, see. So again, when you're talking about all this civilization of the supposed Mayan civilizations and all this, you're talking about something that's been constructed a lot later, right? Because it's literally an illusion civilization, right? Of course, based around the serpent ideas again, which is the syringe, right? So everything sort of makes sense in that way, right? Of course, a lot of horns, like just like Moses and all that. And if you see this Quetzalcoatl thing, the coat of many colours, which is like a famous idea, about the Western traditions. Coat of many colours, like Joseph and his dream coat, see? So when you have a coat of many colours idea, again, it's talking about rainbows, rainbow serpents, and like an external coat, again, being a metaphor for the trance, right? That you put on the coat of many colours. Now here's the rainbow serpent, from the Aborigine. Yurlunga, and that's very similar to the Thor one, the Norse idea about the serpent. So all the cultures have got a type of serpent, which is basically very similar. They considered the Great Father, say, very much ties in with the Western Bible, See what I'm saying? So what we're talking about with this Bible, we're talking about a God who's actually just basically one of these serpent ideas, right? Of course, like things like comets and meteors and shooting stars and all that type of unexplainable stuff that goes on in the sky. They always give it names, like the day with serpents and flying dragons and serpents and all this, really. There's another one, the Kanyamba. See what I'm saying? So all these cultures and what have you have got these type of, what do you call it, serpent gods. Right? So why should West Britain, right, be any different? Of course, the rebirth idea is very central to the Western Bible. But here's an interesting piece of knowledge. When snakes shed their skin, right, through, they call it sloughing. So obviously you got the town of Slough, Berkshire, England, bordering West London. One called Reading as well, Reading or Reading, so like reading things in their Slough. It's of course the near all the towns on their own type of ideas and that. The road to Windsor, the Crown Crossroads. The Savile Garden. Of course, look how cool this is, rebirth, transformation, immortality and healing. It's exactly what their code name, the trans program, that's exactly it, right? And of course this Ouroboros thing about the serpent or dragon eating its own tail, the Jungle Surfer done a load of good stuff on that. Loads of videos about that. So that's very connected to these transes, like continual renewal of life. Of course you've got this one, the Kundalini's idea, right? Which is but again, like you see the multicoloured,